Hey, guess what? We're playing another game. And we have a brand new Doggo in the bottom left, the Tourist Doggo, which I figure for games where I'll play at something FMV or I'm in a location or nothing specific. But yeah, this is 48 Shibuya Scramble. I think it's in English, but I've seen screenshots where it's not, so I'm not sure. Actually, that's a good point. Can I... Hold on, we don't... I don't want to... No, I wanted the guide. Uh-oh. Let me out. I thought it was no as in go back. This story is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents, or blah 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 blah. Okay, we're just gonna turn it down a little bit. How am I gonna turn it down? Hey, I turned it down. So I know Shibuya is a place in Japan? Beyond that, I don't really know much about this game other than, technically, it has good recommendations. Oh, they've got a football pitch on top of a building. They'll just end up playing a Yakuza game somehow. Music reminds me a lot of, like, Kingdom Hearts. I still have no idea what the game is. We just have shots of, I assume, Shibuya. And a blimp? It is a blimp, okay. At first I thought it was just somebody with a hat. We interrupt this program for breaking news regarding the Shinjuku's hostage situation. A middle-aged man in a ski mask took several employees hostage at an office in Shinjuku before barricading himself inside. Now that 3 hours have passed, the man? The man? What happened to the man? Employees believe the suspect to be a man named Kitajima. I've been to see... The suspect has prior dealings with another company in the building and is experiencing money problems. I've been deceived. Alpha. Authorities believe this to be the motivation for... The world doesn't change so easy. Always a mystery. Oh my god, he exploded. So it's a light and fun start. Shibuya's story is yours to tell. Oh my god, me? No. Thank you. Oh, I have a character select. So I've got Kano or Achi. I love this character select. It's like the old Lord of the Rings games. I kind of wish I could have gone back and learned the controls a little bit. Options? Okay. You know, the controls actually seem pretty easy. Alright, Kano or Archie? Endo Electronics or the Scramble intersection? Let's go Archie or Aki. Oh my god. Sir, please put on some clothes. Oh, my eyes. Archie Endo called out at the door to his father's room. Okay, I'm heading out. Sure. His father sounded unconcerned. He didn't even open the door. Sure you don't want me to stay here in the shop? It's not like we're gonna get any customers. Archie grimaced. Yeah, I guess not. The drawer by the front door held a stack of heavy-duty trash bags. Archie pulled a few of them out. Guess it's gonna be that kind of day. He stuffed the trash bags into his pocket and slipped on his favorite pair of sneakers. The entryway to Archie's home also led into the family shop. Various pieces of electronics were piled up like so much junk in a tiny retail space. The slightest bump brought a risk of avalanche. Archie wore his way through the gaps in the appliances like a spelunker exploring a cave. From Shibuya Station, if you make your way past the 109 building, then up through Dogenzaka, you'll come across an old shopping district. Nestled in its outskirts is Endo Electronics, in the same place it's been for decades. Within its dimly lit interior, you'll find rows of wares all caked in dust. At a glance, you might well assume the place was closed. A mom-and-pop place like Endo's couldn't compete with the big consumer chains booming throughout Shibuya. So far, the store had remained in business thanks to the locals who had appreciated that they made house calls to do repairs. But things weren't looking good for the future. Archie, the eldest son and nominal successor to the business, had no interest whatsoever in working there. Oh no. Archie stepped out of the shop and into the sunny morning air. The good weather lifted his spirits. Alrighty, time to do this. So it's a visual novel? He unfurled one of the big garbage bags, which caught the wind and fluttered like a cape. Then he slowly made his way towards Shibuya Station, scanning his surroundings all the while. Sheesh, this place is filthy. He paused to pick up a plastic bottle that had been tossed on the ground. Then, with a heavy sigh, he slipped the crushed receptacle into his trash bag. He's just picking up stuff. He'd been picking up trash around town like this for about 6 months now. It had gotten so that the sort of garbage most people would hardly notice stood out to him like a sore thumb. Most days he'd fill his trash bag to the top by the time he made it from his house to Dogenzaka to the train station. Today he was halfway to the station when a woman's anxious voice caught his attention. I'm sorry, I'm in a bit of a hurry here. He looked up and saw a timid-looking woman being confronted by 2 men, one with brown hair, one with black. These look like punks. This is Yakuza. From the look of them, he guessed that that the men were scouts for some hostess club. He ran into this sort of thing pretty frequently on his trash-cleaning walks around town. Another kind of trash to take care of? Archie quickly interposed himself between the girl and the 2 recruiters. Hey, can't you see that you're bothering her? Huh? Who the hell are you? The 2 men glared. Take a hike, pal. Archie stood his ground. Look, she ain't interested. You're just gonna have to find some other mark. The hustler's annoyance turned to open rage. Well, well, listen to you. Got a bit of a mouth, huh, buddy? The brown-haired thug smacked his lips around his chewing gum like a dog worrying a bone. How about we take this someplace more quiet, yeah? Tip. Ooh, I'll take a tip. Ah, I see. Someplace more quiet. What this means can depend on the person speaking. To a young woman, let's go someplace more quiet might suggest a cafe or park. To a street punk, it might mean an alley where passers-by are unlikely to interrupt. You know, that makes sense. The girl stood by, uneasily watching the goings-on. Hey, take it easy. I'm not looking for trouble. Is that supposed to be an apology? On your knees and beg, pal. The man spat his gum onto the ground. Rubbish. Archie looked down at the glistening wad of gum on the sidewalk. His last shred of goodwill vanished. You better pick that up. Right now. What? Didn't you hear me? Because I told you to get down on the knees and... Archie's hand shot out, grabbing the man by the jaw. Whoa, whoa, easy, pal. The other man's bravado drained from his face. Archie tightened his grip on the brown-haired hustler's jaw. It sounds like he's breaking his neck. Sweat dripped from the man's reddening brow. Ugh. The man struggled, but Archie just tightened his grip. Gum's a real pain in the ass to clean up after it's gotten stuck on the street, you know. Ever stopped to consider that? Wait, are you... The other hustler's panicked eyes had fixed on Archie's chest. Gah! Oh, crap. That shirt, man. The guy's voice was starting to break. That's mean clean. A guy with a mean clean shirt, carrying around a trash bag? That means you're... His face went pale. What? Mean clean? The other man echoed through the words through his held-shut jaw, tears welling up in his eyes. Get it right, pal. Archie clenched the man's jaw harder still. It's mean clean. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. We're sorry, man. You're Archie, right? Dude, we honestly had no idea. Come on, man, you gotta cut us some slack. The man scrambled to snatch the wad of gum off the street, stuffing it into his pants pocket. Finally, Archie let go of his companion. The brown-haired hustler's face was twisted up with fear. Tears streamed down his cheeks. Gasping out hasty apologies, the two thugs scampered off. Hey, so... A shy smile came to the girl's face. Thanks for saving me. No, I apologize. Huh? The girl stared in surprise. You'll run into creeps like that now and then, but don't hold it against us. Shibuya's a good town. Yeah, okay. Archie gave her a quick wave, then turned and continued on his way down to the Doggo. Archie was Shibuya born and raised. He was keenly aware of all the changes the ward had seen since he was a kid. Grocers' stalls and inconspicuous little side streets, tiny parks nestled between buildings, Archie knew it all like the back of his hand. Trash, human or otherwise, had no place in this town. Trash, human or otherwise, had no place in this town. Not on his watch. Archie made his way down towards Shibuya Station. Throngs of people shuffled to and fro across the Scramble. The view shifted constantly from one moment to the next, almost as if a city itself was alive. And if the city was a living thing, then Shibuya Station was its heart. With streets like Bunkamuradori and the Center Gai serving as the arteries pumping a bloodstream made of people. Today, as ever, a heart was pumping that blood to every nook and cranny of Shibuya Station, and there was actually just another part of this great urban organism. Guess I'm one of the city's white blood cells. Or wait, maybe I'm a red blood cell. Hold on. Is that right? Or did I have it right the first time? White blood cells eliminate pathogens from the bloodstream. Red blood cells carry oxygen throughout the body. Actually, was probably thinking of white blood cells. Fair. Did I do it? Emerging from his reverie, he noticed a rather conspicuous young woman standing by the statue of Hachiko outside Shibuya Station. Oh, she's totally my type. Hold on, tip. My type. To be up someone's alley, to be someone's cup of tea. Thank you. Wonder if she's a model or a small-time actress or something. Looks like she's waiting for someone. Probably another guy. Dang. Good-looking as she was, there was no way she wasn't already taken. What kind of guy scored a girl like that? Probably the rich-ass CEO of an IT company or something. Crouching down to tie off the trash bag, he continued gazing wistfully at the girl, then he noticed something peculiar. She was carrying an attaché case, the kind a businessman might use. It was a large case and apparently so heavy that she was struggling to hold it despite using both hands. Okay, now I've got two options. Now, what kind of person makes a young lady lug around something heavy like that? Archie figured he'd offer to carry it for her. Or B, but first, I gotta dump this trash. He looked around to see if there was a garbage bin nearby. I mean, with the mean clean, we've got to deal with the trash first. But first, I gotta dump this trash. He looked around to see if there was a garbage bin nearby. Huh? A man had come up beside the girl. He was dressed in black and he wasn't Japanese. It looked like they were having a conversation. The girl nodded tensely at something the man said. Archie stared. Something tells me that that's not her boyfriend. The girl handed the attaché case over to the man. He took hold of it with his right hand and began walking briskly away. Whoa! A nearby homeless man suddenly leapt over Archie and broke into a run as if he'd been waiting for this very moment. Hold on. What is a homeless man? Yuji Sasayama, a detective with the Shibuya precinct, known as the Cosplay Detective, due to the strange outfit he wears while on stakeouts. He's partnered with Shinya Kano for the kidnapping investigation. Oh! That was more lore than I was expecting. Sprinting alongside him was a young man in a suit. I can jump. No, wait, I can't jump. I guess because I'm doing this one first. Maybe when I've done that one, then I can jump over to this one. Then, seemingly from everywhere, a whole bunch of other guys burst into motion. First one. Then another. A third, a fourth, a fifth. Over a dozen now. What the heck? Clearly something big was going down. Were they after the attaché case? Within moments, Archie lost sight of them all through the crowd. With that many people chasing him, the guy with the case was sure to get caught. But wait, what about that girl? Archie turned back around. The girl was still there. She was staring in the direction that the man who'd taken the case had gone, a worried expression on her face. Archie couldn't shake the feeling something was very wrong. Maybe he should go and talk to her. Another crazy day in Shibuya. They had to be shooting a scene for a film on location. It would probably be a mistake to intrude. I got to, like, Archie would talk to her, now that he's dealt with the trash. Archie couldn't shake the feeling something was very wrong. Maybe he should talk to her and ask what was going on. But just as he was making up his mind, a middle-aged man in a ratty business suit shuffled awkwardly over to her first. Was there something wrong with one of his legs? He was using a cane to walk. Then one of his hands slipped into his jacket pocket. Archie could scarcely believe his eyes. A gun. A snub-nosed revolver. A revolver? Hold on. Tip. A Colt Detective Special, a .38 caliber revolver introduced in 1927 by Colt's Manufacturing Company, a classic example of a snub-nosed revolver. As the name implies, the weapon is frequently carried by detectives, narcotics officers, and the like for self-defense. That's an image. Suddenly a young man came running through the crowd. Seeing him, the man with the cane turned on his heel and vanished in the scramble. Something big was going down. What is all this? The young man was closing in on the girl, his expression grim. That guy's up to no good. Archie sprang into motion. Hiya! As I fucking jump kick him in the back. Leaping high, Archie delivered a flying kick right between the man's shoulder blades. The guy went down but recovered surprisingly fast, spinning back to his feet to grapple with Archie. What the hell is your problem? What the hell is your problem, man? Archie snapped. The two stood staring each other down as the crowd swirled around them. Let go of me. You should let go of me first. After you let go of me, sure. You first, pal. Don't you call me pal, man. Don't you call me man, pal. Neither man was willing to yield. The crowd had parted to avoid the scuffle. Passers-by were staring from all sides. Well, crap. Archie got a sudden sinking feeling. What the hell am I even doing? Jumped in over my head as usual. His anger melted away. He loosened his grip. Without further argument, the other man let go of Archie's jacket. Turning quickly away, the stranger hurried over to the statue of Hachiko, where he dropped to his knees, dejected. The girl who'd been standing there was nowhere to be seen. Maybe this was the guy she'd been waiting on. The guy was clearly upset that she was missing. Archie actually felt kind of bad for him. He decided it would be wise to leave while the guy's attention was elsewhere. Woo. He hurried back along the road to his house. The wind had gone out of his sails and he didn't feel much like clearing up trash anymore. Not the mean clean. Ah well, guess I'll read some manga and go to bed. Didn't you just get out of bed? Better play it safe before the day got any worse. I got the bad ending? Excuse me? Archie's interference with the young man, it was Kano, disrupted the detective's sting. If Archie hadn't acted on impulse when he saw Kano heading for Hitomi, things might have gone differently. But how can you make sure Kano doesn't return to the scramble and startle Archie? Key lies further along in Kano's story. Okay. I got a bad ending. It's been 19 minutes. How did this happen? Alright, I guess I play Kano's story now. Kano? Kano? I don't know. I'm going Kano. I'm going Kano and Archie, my instincts. Just 2 more minutes to go. Shinya Kano noted the time again on his watch, scowling at the slow creep of the second hand. The time was 9:58 a.m. Furrows of consternation creased his forehead. He wasn't nervous, but he knew better than to expect everything to go smoothly. Keeping a level head was proving rather difficult. There was no room for failure. And then he gets jump-kicked by a rando. Lives were on the line here. He eyed his surroundings. Was the perp really going to show up? When? Where would he be coming from? How would he make his approach? The Shibuya Scramble was as packed as ever, a throng of people crossing this way and that, blissfully unaware of the dozens of detectives hidden in its midst. Alright, another minute and a half. Kano glanced down at his watch yet again. A mere 30 seconds had passed. Detective Kano had been with the enforcement arm of Shibuya's criminal affairs section for a year now, but he'd never been part of an operation this big before. He eyed the young woman standing beside the statue up ahead. She was small enough to get lost in the crowd, and she carried a nondescript attaché case. Hitomi Osawa, age 19. The attaché case in her hands contained a full 50 million yen in cash. Yesterday, her twin sister Maria had been kidnapped. This was the ransom payment. The culprit had called Hitomi last night at home, referring to her by name and telling her to wait by the statue of Hachiko in Shibuya. It was almost time, but nothing. Kano was staring fixedly at the second hand on his watch when a homeless man sitting on the sidewalk murmured just loud enough for him to hear. Come on, Kano, quit looking at your watch so much. What if the kidnapper sees you? Kano tried to look nonchalant as he lifted his eyes, but the scruffy character continued. You're too nervous. Just relax already. You're the one acting suspicious, Sasayama. Kano frowned. Why would some homeless guy be talking to me? Yuji Sasayama was the senior officer of the Shibuya Precinct's Criminal Affairs Division, 5 years older than Kano. The 428 Shibuya Precinct. Official name, Shibuya Central Precinct. Responsible for the safety of approximately 200,000 people in 32 neighborhoods, including, why did I do this? Uehara, Uguisu Danicho? Udagawacho? No idea. Ibisu? Ubisunishi? Ebi Suminami, Oyamacho, Kamiyamacho, Sakura Gaokacho, Sasayuzuka, Sarugakucho, Shibuya, Shoto, Jingume, Shinsencho, Jinan, Sendagaya. This is just all. What have I done? Daik Anyamacho, Dogenzaka, Tomigaya, Nanpei Daicho, Nishihara, Hatagaya, Hachiyamacho, Hatsudai, Higashi, Hiru, Honmachi, Maru Yamacho, Moto Yoyogicho, Yoyogi, and Yoyogi Zonocho. Oh my god. He always went a little overboard with the disguises. He claimed it was all part of the job. Wait, this is just the cosplay detective then? But word around the station was that he just liked playing dress up. Hey pal, spare some change? Sasayama lurched to his feet and shuffled in close to Kano. Hey, knock that off. Fittingly for the part, Sasayama reeked pretty badly. Well, ain't so suspicious now, huh? He clung to Kano with mock camaraderie, despite the younger man's attempts to pull away. Come on, Sasayama, cut it out. Sasayama's blithe confidence rattled Kano's nerves. Of course, there was good reason for the confidence. This was Kano and Sasayama's jurisdiction, but they were positioned a good distance from where the handoff was to take place. Jurisdiction, a particular region in which over which an organization or a member thereof has control or authority. So yeah, like police. The statue of Hachiko was surrounded by elite investigators from one of HQ's special investigation teams. Statue of Hachiko, a bronze statue of a dog erected in 1934. The dog was famous for loyally waiting for its absent master, well known as the meetup spot outside Shibuya Station. Other popular meetup spots at the station are the display car for the original Tokyo 5000 series, commonly known as the Green Frog, and the Moyai statue by the west entrance. HQ, headquarters, Tokyo. Kano and his partner were just there to provide backup if the kidnapper attempted to flee. Look, just try to relax, we'll be fine. Sasayama gave him a wink. A moment later, the radio squawked in Kano's ears. Alright everyone, it's time. Keep your eyes open. The voice coming in through the earpiece was Koji Kuze, HQ's operations director. Person in charge. Until last year, he had been the Shibuya Precinct's head detective and Kano's supervisor. We don't know when the perp is going to make contact, don't let your guard down. Kuze's low, gravelly voice echoed in Kano's ear. You don't sound too worried, Kuze. Kano winced at Sasayama's words. How could the man be so nonchalant? The appointed time had come and gone. Something should be happening. Whap! Kano smacked himself in the thigh to release a little tension. The sound was louder than he intended. Though the suit hid his muscular physique, it did little to dampen the noise. He needed to stay focused. He might be called to action at any moment. The department handled abduction cases according to a certain standard investigation procedure. Was it an attempt to extort money, or was the motive something personal? The answer to that question determined how they deal with the criminal, and based on the investigation team's initial findings this time around, they probably weren't dealing with a professional kidnapper. Still, in all likelihood, it was someone with a quite long rap sheet, probably someone who knew the family, but so far they had few leads on who might bear such a grudge. With the situation so unclear, the plan was to apprehend whomever came to make the handoff on site. If the culprit ran with the money, there'd be no guarantee of the hostage's well-being. Still nothing. Sasayama muttered. There he is! He's here! Kuze broke in, his voice spiking into an excited chirp. Kuze's particular voice quirk, whenever he gets overly flustered, excited, or panicked, he slips into a childish register, prone to babbling and pitching his voice. There he is! Subject is a young male in his 20s wearing a bandana and an orange hoodie. That's not me, is it? That's not Achi. Kuze, normally calm and stoic, was now squawking like an excited child. That only happened when he got particularly worked up. Kano and Sasayama steeled themselves. Oh, it's not me. It's just somebody handing out a flyer. They could see the subject now. A 20-something male nonchalantly approached Hitomi to talk to her. Alright people, be ready to grab this guy. I think he's just handing out a flyer. Kuze was stationed at the mobile command center not far from the intersection, keeping tabs on the situation via video surveillance from the camera team. The young man started to speak enthusiastically to Hitomi. The detectives watched, uncertain. Was this really the kidnapper? That is not him. We've seen the guy. The situation still wasn't entirely clear. Needed to get a better look at things. The newcomer held a bundle of letter-sized paper which he showed to Hitomi as he went on talking, and he's like, so you can go to this restaurant or this restaurant, they're both having a sale, it's quite nice, just down the street, would recommend. He tried to hand her one of the papers, but she pointedly ignored him. Undeterred, the man kept trying to foist it off on her. Hitomi refused to respond, becoming as motionless as the statue of Hachiko behind her, until finally the man gave up and walked away. Guess it wasn't him. Kano felt the tension of the moment linger in his spine. Guy must have been hitting on her, Sasayama muttered. Succeeding at meeting someone on the fly like this takes a special knack. Looks are also important. Sometimes, of course, the person trying to get your attention out of nowhere is just trying to make a sales pitch for a product or a nearby establishment. At first glance, it isn't always easy to tell the difference. It was to me! I mean, she is pretty cute and all. He had a point. Though, of course. Something in Sasayama's voice made Kano brace himself. She's got nothing on my Mi-chan. What is this music? I'm going to turn it up a bit. What is this? It's banging. Well, I gotta go back to the... Huh? Mi-chan was Sasayama's wife. They'd gotten married just last month. Let me tell you, Kano, married life is the best. You gotta hurry up and give it a try for yourself. That was Sasayama's favourite topic lately, and Kano was getting more and more fed up with it. Sasayama, come on, just knock it off, okay? The phrase had become a common refrain of his since the department partnered them. Fine, let's talk about your girlfriend then. Huh? Now? You can't be serious? Sasayama leaned in close again. What's she like? We are not having this conversation, Kano muttered, looking away. Oh, come on. Sasayama set his hand on Kano's chest, still playing the homeless troublemaker. Show me your phone. Let me see your lock screen. Huh? Sasayama poured for the phone. You got a pic of your girl on your lock screen, yeah? I do not. But he did. It was scary how on the mark Sasayama's instincts were. Hey, cut it out. We're in the middle of an investigation. I am investigating, Sasayama chuckled as he plucked the phone from Kano's pocket. His face scrunched up with astonishment as he looked at the lock screen. The heck is this? It's not... Ain't this Masami Nagahama? A national star, tends to play the heroine on national morning soap operas or in the national historical dramas. Her songs have been a series of national hits, and she even slated to host the year-end national singing competition program. Everything about her is national. Kano realized he had to bite the bullet. No, that's my girlfriend. Her name's Rumi, and she's... Sasayama cut him off. You're telling me this ain't Masami Nagahama, the famous actress? Because this right here is Masami Nagahama. Like I said, you sly old dog, trying to make her like you, make like you're dating Masami Nagahama. I'm not. I mean, I guess Rumi does kind of look like her. Sasayama let out a huff. For real? You really think I'm gonna fall for that? There's nothing to fall for, I swear. Sasayama scowled, unconvinced. Alright, then why don't you marry her? Kano stammered, but he had no answer. The truth was how he would have happily married her already, but there were obstacles that needed to be overcome. Okay, playtime's over. Let's focus on the job. Sasayama handed back Kano's phone and turned his gaze to Hitomi. Kano let out a quick, uneasy sigh, but his shoulders did feel looser. Maybe Sasayama had been trying to relieve a bit of the tension. Maybe he should be grateful. By now, several minutes had passed since the guy with the papers had gone away. He peered at Hitomi. The strain on her face was visible. In addition to the weight of the attaché case itself, the 10,000 yen bills it held weighed close to 6 kilos. Her slender arms must have been getting tired. Still, she refused to set the case down. She wasn't taking any chances with her sister's life. The kidnapping case had begun the day before, at around 7 p.m. This is MPD Dispatch. The Shibuya precinct is reporting a missing person believed to be an abduction. In Japanese law, the act of indirectly luring or deceiving someone into the control of a third party is known as kidnapping. Using forcible threats or violence to achieve the same result is known as abduction. Subject is Maria Osawa, a 19-year-old student at Midoriyama Academy, last seen at the LL Diner near campus. A man was allegedly seen forcing her into a car nearby. All officers in the vicinity reported the scene at once. Kano and Sasayama had been working a burglary case in Jingumei's 5th district when they got the call. The two arrived at the LL Diner at 7:15 p.m. At roughly the same time, several other officers showed up to secure the area, blocking off the entry to the nearby roadways and monitoring the surrounding establishments. Inside the restaurant, Kano and Sasayama were met by the girl who'd reported the kidnapping. It was the victim's twin sister, Hitomi. Could you tell us about when Maria was taken, starting from the very beginning? Kano said, keeping his voice low. My sister and I, we were supposed to go to a party together today. Hitomi was trembling, her voice hoarse. But I messed up the time. I showed up right at 7, an hour later than I was supposed to. So Maria had gone alone to the party, a mixer for locals and exchange students. Hitomi, arriving late, had showed up just in time to glance out through the restaurant window to see her sister getting shoved into a car. She described the vehicle as a blue station wagon of Japanese make. Why would something like this happen to her? Hitomi held back her tears, but she was shaking all over. Did you get a look at the kidnapper? Yes, it was a man, middle-aged. There was another eyewitness, Leyland Palmer. He identified himself as a lecturer at the Hitomi and Maria's school. I saw too. It's like Hitomi says. I heard Hitomi cry out, so I went to the window to look, and his Japanese was halting as if he hadn't been in the country very long. And I think that maybe the kidnapper was working alone. Leyland explained that he'd seen the man shove Maria into the back seat, then clamber into the driver's seat. How do we know that this is Hitomi and not Maria? Other than what she's telling us. Can we see any ID? Well, I guess it's not going to help. If he had an accomplice, wouldn't they have been driving? Neither Hitomi nor Leyland got a look at the suspect's face. Kano was interviewing others who had been on the scene looking for the other potential witnesses when his phone rang. Is it too obvious for me to say, is it the really tall white guy that was the guy that picked up the suitcase during Achi's story? It was Yoshio Kajiwara, one of the senior detectives. We've set up a task force for the investigation. Get back to the station once you have a handle on the situation there. Barely half an hour had passed between the time the kidnapping was reported and the time the task force began operation. Around 150 people are working on the case from Shibuya's precinct conference room. The main force at work is HQ's first special investigation unit. Additionally, other detective sections, a riot squad, and investigators from neighbouring precincts have been assembled. There's a lot of talking. When Kano and Sasayama got back to the precinct station, Kusei had already arrived from HQ. He informed them that a response team had been formed to investigate the victim's home. I'm gonna stop looking at all the tips, because I think a lot of them are just telling me what I already know. Kano could feel a peculiar tension in the air. Unfamiliar MPD detectives scurried to and fro around the Shibuya offices. He pulled one of them aside to get a quick update. An hour had passed now since the kidnapping. There had been one new development. The perpetrator had made a threatening call to the victim's home. He said the following. Tomorrow, 10 AM, by Hachiko in Shibuya. Have the sister Hitomi bring 50 million yen. If not, the girl's life is forfeit. Okay. Man, like one guy with a banana. Kajiwara from the precinct was put on the response team along with detectives from elsewhere who'd received special training in abduction cases. Normally, a local precinct detective wouldn't have gone undercover in a victim's home. Kusei, however, had decided that having a knowledgeable local was crucial and had sent Kajiwara along. The detectives disguised themselves as delivery people and movers to make their way inside without arousing suspicion, arriving there at 8:30. The response team had come prepared to run a trace if the kidnapper contacted the family a second time, but there were no further calls. Okay. Kano checked his watch again. 20 minutes had now passed since the time designated for the ransom handoff. The kidnapper had yet to appear. Crap, you think we might have spooked him? He wondered aloud. Hey, stay calm. Sasayama scanned the passing throng. He's just playing with us. Why'd this guy even pick this place? Kano voiced the question he'd been asking himself ever since he heard the kidnapper's demands. Sasayama shrugged. Figured he must want to blend in with the crowd, nab the money, and disappear before anyone knows he's there would be my guess. In that case, why not pick Shinjuku or Ginza? The big crowd didn't just benefit the kidnapper after all. It also allowed police to use the sea of people to conceal their own operation. Right now, there were 50 detectives stationed within a 50-meter radius of where Hitomi stood. The kidnapper would be taking a major risk if his plan was to nab the ransom money and run. That's what bothered Kano. Any criminal with half a brain would know better than to do a handoff in front of Hachiko. You're overthinking things, pal, Sasayama grumbled. No, I'm not. Kano reached into his pocket and pulled out his notepad. This was Kano's... Excuse me? This was Kano's dick diary, which he always kept close at hand. Sasayama rolled his eyes. That thing again? Kano ignored him, flipping through the notepad pages. Aha, here it is. Dick Dictum 89. The more irreverent, or relevant, something seems, the more relevant it's bound to be. It was the favourite saying of Kyuzu Tateno, an assistant inspector from the Shibuya precinct. Tateno was the kind of detective Kano aspired to be. For the current operation, he'd been placed in charge of Hitomi's personal safety. He was in a position to defend her as soon as the ransom had been handed off. Of course, Hitomi hadn't been informed of how much protection she was under. There was a risk that if she acted too secure, it might alert the kidnapper. I think Tateno has the right idea. Sasayama snorted quietly. Maybe, I mean, he's a great detective, don't get me wrong. But do you know how many irrelevant things there are to consider? Again, Kano ignored him. It didn't matter if nobody else understood. Kano had faith in Tatano, as both a detective and as an individual. He had first witnessed Tatano's brilliance during a standoff at a financial company 3 years earlier. A man had shut himself in an office, splashing gasoline everywhere and threatening to set the place ablaze. While the others hesitated, Tatano unflinchingly doused himself with gasoline and strode into the building, where he managed to talk the man down and secure the scene. The others had been awestruck by Tatano's actions, and Kano, who at the time had been content to be a run-of-the-mill policeman, had found it quite inspiring. Is it possible that he, set it up to look good? Still, you know? Sasayama murmured under his breath. As great as detective as Tatano is, it's not like anyone else in the world has ever heard of him. I suppose not, Kano said. So? Only time anyone ever hears a cop's name is if he's caught up in some kind of scandal or killed in the line of duty. I mean, doesn't really seem fair, does it? Kano just shrugged. It was a strange definition of unfair, really. I mean, you've got celebrity chefs, celebrity hairdressers and stuff, so how come no celebrity gumshoes, you know? Look, please, can you just focus on what we're doing here? Kano rubbed his eyes, then turned his attention back to Hitomi. What's the matter? Didn't sleep? Not enough, I guess. Did you eat? Didn't have time. Between bringing in supplies for the base of operations, readying the team's vehicles, photocopying hundreds of documents and various other tasks, Kano had barely slept the previous night and hadn't gotten a meal in either. What have you been doing? Sasayama puffed out his chest. Saving up my energy for today, so you were sleeping. Kano gave a wry chuckle at his partner's lack of shame. There he is! Kuze's voice chirped suddenly through Kano's earpiece. The man in the black coat. He's not Japanese, looks to be in his early 30s. A foreign man had emerged from the crowd about 15 feet from where Hitomi was standing. He made his way towards her, his expression blank. He didn't match the description Hitomi had given them, but Kano felt a jolt of nerves all the same. Maybe the kidnapper was using an accomplice to snatch the ransom payment. Alright, Sasayama raised an eyebrow. This may be our guy. This was it. Kano swallowed the lump in his throat. He bent his knees, ready for action. Blood rushed to his leg muscles, banishing the stiffness that had begun to take hold. Was this the culprit? Or perhaps... The stranger took a hold of the attaché case. It was him! En masse, the detectives began to close in. Let's go, Kano. On it. Sasayama and Kano leapt into action, but they never expected what happened next. With the case clutched in both arms, the man veered suddenly, running right towards them. Oh. Nice. Okay. So that's the bad ending. I guess, do we continue with the Kano one then, for now? Or do we do the Archie one? I don't know, let's do, I guess, go back and do the Archie one. I guess this one? Oh, hold on. I think I want this one, and I want the choice to approach the girl or not. Yeah, I should go, oh wait, no, wait, hold on. I'm gonna be the one that walks up and gets taken out by Kano. Now, what kind of person makes a young lady lug something heavy around like that? Archie figured he'd offer to carry it for her. The girl kept shifting her grip. It was clearly a strain for her to keep holding the case, but she didn't set it down. Whatever was inside, it had to be something pretty important. Archie made his way over to her, bristling inwardly at whoever had left her waiting like this. If I were you, I'd bust the head of the punk that's kept you waiting. Huh? That thing looks heavy. Let me carry it for you. The girl stared back at Archie with wide eyes, but said nothing. Really, I'm happy to help. I'm not going to steal it or anything. His tone was hurried, and he impulsively reached for the attaché case. An instant later, a group of men descended on him from all sides. Whoa, hey, what the hell? For an instant, Archie froze, unable to process just what was happening. He tried to run, but the men shoved him unceremoniously to the ground and held him there. They were just shouting about something or other, but he couldn't make out their words. The more he tried to struggle, the harder they held him down. What the hell is this? You can tell us that down at the precinct. A man in a suit knelt alongside him, flashing a police badge. What? You're arresting me? The heck did I even do? Instead of answering, they shoved Archie into the backseat of a patrol car. He gazed dejectedly out of the window. He could still see the girl. She didn't have the case anymore. Now she was talking to a man with a cane. Was he the person she'd been waiting for? I'm guessing that's the Tateno. That's the guy in charge of her personal security. A moment later, the car turned the corner and the two of them slipped out of view. Archie slumped back into the seat, sulking and silent. Bad ending? Several hours passed. After a bunch of pointless questioning, the police finally determined he was innocent and his father came to pick him up. For a long while, Archie just stared intently out of the window of his car. Finally, his father called his attention. The old man seemed to be in a surprisingly good mood, despite having to collect his son from the jailhouse. Archie, there's something I want to talk to you about. If it's about me taking over the shop, now is not the time, okay? No, it's not that. Look, let's just get home first. Sure, don't feel like going out today anyway. But now I'm curious, what do you want to talk about? I've got some good news. I think you'll be pleased. What? I'm not sure I like the sound of that. Don't tell me you're getting remarried or something. Hehehe. Dad, I really don't like the sound of that. Hehehe. And so began a very long conversation. Bad ending. Yeah, okay, makes sense. I got arrested. Okay, so... this to that, rubbish to rubbish. Coming to the station. So let's do this, where we take the B option, and then we take the other options, the one we took after that. And B. Alright, I can skip this because we've seen this. This is the guy. And then he gives the briefcase, and then he walks away, and then Kano and Sasayama, like, arrive behind him. So then what we don't know is why Kano comes back. So I guess we pick the option where we just assume it was a film and then leave. Because we got the bad option when we walked up to her. I guess another crazy day in Shibuya. They had to be shooting a scene for a film on location. It would be a mistake to intrude. Yeah, I bet that's what this is. Some TV show about a kidnapping and the girl has to make a ransom handoff. And there's probably some actor lurking around here playing the suave, handsome detective. Archie gave a chuckle and turned away. The soothing breeze blew by as wispy clouds drifted overhead. They picked a nice day for a shoot. Smiling inwardly, he resumed his trash-picking mission, wondering what other surprises the day would hold. A few moments later, he heard a loud bang and the scramble went into an uproar. Huh, somebody blow a tire? People were running from all directions to see what had made the sound. Or maybe they're shooting an action scene now. Archie was a tad bit curious, but he strolled away from the scramble without looking back. Maybe he'd head out to Yotsuya. 428 in Japanese when they're pronounced as the syllables for the name Shibuya. What is it? Ichi ni san chi. I'm not sure. Additionally, April 28th is Bushibuya Day and Yotsuya Day, along with Seniors Day. It was best not to get distracted. There was trash that needed collecting. Hell yeah. Please tell me this isn't also a bad end. How? I've picked his only options. Your future is garbage. Thanks, man. What do you mean make a different choice? I did make a different choice. I got screwed. Okay, I can't do keep out. So maybe I have to here. I have to do the jump. Whoa, a nearby homeless man suddenly leapt over Archie and broke into a run, as if he'd been waiting for this very moment. Sprinting alongside him was a young man in a suit. We jump! Let's go. Okay, so you do have to basically do both sides of the story. Let's go, Kano. On it. Sasayama and Kano leapt into action, but they never expected what happened next. With the case clutched in both arms, the man suddenly veered, running right towards them. What? Catching sight of the two detectives, the suspect staggered to a halt, then bolted off in a new direction. Kano whipped off his costume glasses and followed in hot pursuit. At the crosswalk, the signal changed to red, and the flow of foot traffic abruptly halted. Just as quickly, hundreds of cars all lurched back into motion. There was no escape from the culprit now, or so it appeared. The converging cops slowed their pace, confident the man was cornered. Then the foreigner barreled straight into the intersection, dodging between the oncoming cars without any hesitation. The mob of detectives came to a halt, not eager to rush to their death along with him. Kano, however, remained in hot pursuit, charging into the traffic at the crossing. Kano, are you crazy? Come back! Kano heard Sasayama shouting, but his feet kept carrying him onward. Oh good, I didn't get hit by a car. With the shouts and sirens echoing all around him, Kano closed in on the foreigner, just a little closer, and he'd be in tackling range. He leaned forward, preparing to pounce, his eyes fixed on the culprit's feet. It was now or never. Kano, back off, don't take him down. It was Kuze shouting through Kano's earpiece. Huh? Kano hesitated in surprise. Had he really just been ordered not to apprehend the criminal? Let him go for now, the real perp is someplace else. Perp is police jargon for perpetrator. Here, Kuze is referring to the fact the principal offender in the case must be somewhere else. What had happened to the plan? He'd been told that all personnel were to secure the area ASAP. Didn't HQ want them to catch the perpetrator? Arrest team, stay on the foreigner's tail. Forensics team, get busy cross-referencing photos. Even if this foreigner was only an underling hired for this one task, the police had now tipped their hand that they'd been lying in wait. If they didn't lock things down now and get more info on the kidnapper, the girl's life might be at stake. Kano recalled another maxim from his Dick diary. Dick Dictum 12. Always assume a worst-case scenario. If Kuze had told him to let this guy go, that implied he was counting on the team that was now in position. But if the crook had planned a way to break through the police dragnet and escape with their ransom, and he succeeded, what was the right call here? Should he take this guy down or back off after all? Nah, I'm catching the guy! Wait, there we go. Letting the perp escape now is too big of a risk. He had to catch this guy ASAP. The men darted down a narrow alleyway. Kano ran faster. The man sprinted through the side streets. Evidently he knew his way around Shibuya pretty well. Eep, someone's taken Hitomi. Kano recognized Kuze's trademark squawk immediately. Subject is male. He appears to be carrying a gun. He's fleeing in the district of Mejidori. Is it the guy... I forget his name, but the guy that Kano aspires to. What? Kano could hardly believe it. Hitomi had been kidnapped? Hadn't she been abducted by whoever had taken Maria? Or had she been abducted? But why? Someone must have been waiting for the moment when the police took their eyes off her. Something's very wrong here. What in the world is going on? Kano saw that the road forked up ahead. The man with the attaché case ran to the left. If the man who'd taken Hitomi was heading towards Mejidori, there'd be a good chance he'd gone down one of the alleyways off to the right. Making a snap judgment, Kano told the detective behind him to follow the case snatcher, then turned and headed down the nearest alley. After darting through the side streets, he spotted a different man, another foreigner, crossing an intersection a few dozen meters ahead. The man was dressed in black, just like the guy who grabbed the ransom money. Kuze's right, the kidnapper wasn't acting alone. But wait, something was amiss. Hitomi isn't with him. Where was she? Kano skidded around the corner, then stopped short. The man in black was standing there, pointing a gun right at him. Before Kano could react, the man fired. Kano felt hot all over, as if he were on fire. Did I get shot in the head? All except for his cheek, pressed against the asphalt and the palms of his hands, they felt so cold. There was nothing he could do. Nothing, that is, except lie there and watch as his killer turned and walked away. Yeah, I'd call that a bad ending. Shot by a foreigner. By trying to find the man who'd taken Hitomi, Kano ran into a different criminal, and unfortunately for him, he got shot. If the criminal hadn't been able to get near Hitomi, she probably wouldn't have been taken. Have Archie make the choice to talk to Hitomi instead at 10:35. Ah, okay. Well, there you go. Didn't I make that choice anyway, though? Well, anyway, I think we've come to the end for this demo day. But this is certainly an interesting game. It's kind of Detroit, but also, like, Detroit Become Human, but also it's a visual novel, so you're kind of just going through the motions. But it's interesting, and if you'd like to see more of it, then let me know. But otherwise, I shall see you all in the next one. Bye for now.